All right, that's the first story, Bengaluru's Kinky murder case. And I'm using that word with careful consideration because there are several theories which are floating around. There are, of course, like I said right at the beginning, many versions and several reasons that is being attributed to this terrible crime. But one thing is certain, that this is a murder most macabre. The incident took place around 2 p.m. in Anjana Nagar under the limits of Vaidarahalli police station in Bengaluru when 27-year-old Prema allegedly murdered her boyfriend Kiran after tying him up, blindfolding him and setting him ablaze at her residence. This is where various versions are floating around in the run-up to her setting him ablaze. According to one, Prema had apparently told Kiran, with whom she had been in a relationship for almost 2 years, that she wanted to propose to him in what she described as a Western style. That is, like we see, by going down on one of her knees, and therefore she proceeded to tie him up, his hands and legs, with a rope and also blindfolded him. When Kiran questioned why she was tying him up at all, Prema said it was part of the act. Now here is where another version kicks in, and that being suspicion of an alleged BDSM role play, which is equally if not more bizarre, that made Prema allegedly burn her erstwhile partner. There are also allegations that Kiran had turned down Prema's proposal of a marriage, and that had agitated the woman to such an extent that she committed the terrible crime. The moment Prema poured the inflammable liquid suspected to be kerosene on a helpless and blindfolded Kiran, he died there and then, but not before screaming out in pain. All this while, Prema was recording every moment of the victims inching towards his death. The neighbors, after hearing the screams and noticing smoke coming out of Prema's home, alerted the fire services, and this is when the police arrived. At first, the police saw the case as one of Kiran having died by suicide, as was said by Prema, but later found inconsistencies in her account pointing to foul play. What made the police to puncture holes in Prema's version of Kiran having done himself to death was evidence suggesting that this woman may have bought the inflammable liquid in advance, indicating premeditation. Prema's phone was also seized by the police, which allegedly contained a recording of the victim's final moments. Meanwhile, Kiran's body has been shifted to Victoria Hospital for a post-mortem examination. What makes someone resort to such cruelty? This story has alleged betrayal. It has alleged deviant sexual behavior and holds a mirror to the extent a human being can be deceptive. Let's debate. Our first guest is Dr. Ravi Prakash, psychiatrist, and also Rashi Juneja, relationship counselor and clinical psychologist. Thank you both for joining us on this broadcast. Rashi, if I may come to you, I want to ask you, Rashi, that you are a relationship counselor as well. Look at this. Now, I don't find anything really unusual in this story at all. People break off, people get dumped. I was dumped. I'm sure that a lot of other people have been dumped. Life goes on. We move on. They were now allegedly in a relationship for 2 years. They were also living together. Apparently, they were co-workers as well. And then something happened. One version of it is that Kiran had apparently turned down her proposal of a marriage, Then she calls him home and obviously gave him hope, if we go by the theory that she wanted to go down on her knees and propose to him. In all this, what is so unusual, in case that this is proven right, that she burnt him to death, what is so unusual? What is the reason for this? I mean, how can this, because I think whatever has happened in their lives, or the trajectory if you watch in this couple, it's like so usual, isn't it?
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
I just want to start. You initially mentioned BDSM. So let's just start from there itself. So BDSM is a part of normally a lot of sexual activity. People normally indulge in BDSM because of, or in order to gain pleasure out of it, only with consent. But if an individual is not indulging into it without consent, if an individual is not entering into the activity, it becomes a forceful act or something that an individual is not, let's say, signing up for. One part is this. Second comes is my prior experiences. How are my experiences with my prior relationships and my how I'm coping with them. My personality in totality, how I am dealing with them, that also plays a major role here. If I have had let's say, a breakup in the past, which is not very soothing, or with which I have not been able to cope up with, I've indulged into self harm or giving threats where I am, jeopardizing other person's life. My background, my track record, that plays a major role. We have a very limited information in order to jump to a conclusion here. But yes, my personality, my coping, my resilience, my support system, everything in totality uh, can give me a lot of information about scenario. And coming to the relationships per se, yes, a lot of exposure to a lot of aggressive content has been there now online. Even if you initially it was there on Google or other Google sites, or let's say another web browsers, but now it's there in the movies also, and people are picking up a lot from there as well.
No,
So
but
it
you know
all
what?
totality has a
Yeah, I think your audio needs to be fixed. I'm so sorry, Rashi, but you're coming and going.
no
As
problem.
in, so let's get the production to do justice to your beautiful voice, and I'll come back to you, Dr. Ravi Prakash. Thank you so much for joining us on this debate, Dr. Ravi Prakash. My entire thing is, we are now. I mean, although let me also make it very clear that BDSM is one theory. I mean, it would be presumptuous to say it was BDSM. It would be presumptuous to say, like even that, that he turned down and therefore she was that. These are all theories floating around right now. What is the truth now, Dr. Ravi Prakash, that the man is no more there? Kiran is gone, and it's a very cruel death. Imagine to be burnt alive. I mean, cruelty, this is beyond cruelty, this is macabre, screaming away, inching closer towards your death. Dr. Ravi Prakash, I want to ask that what makes a human being so cruel? In this case, allegedly Prema. Would she have, what scares me is that, we talk about violent behavior, people go for anger management, people go for rage, people go for violence, as a child, if a child is behaving in a violent fashion. But in this case, you think there could have been some indications you're a dog. I mean, what makes someone so cruel that I pour kerosene over you and I burn you alive, sir?
Yeah, it was a very, very brutal, very, very inhumane act which was done. And as we have been discussing that still it is under investigation and several theories are there. To me, prima facie, it does not look like an act of passion or sexual crime so much. The reason I'll cite you, the reason is that BDSM as an act, it can be okay that you are tying up a person and some kind of pain is being inflicted, but fire is not so common in BDSM. Whenever we talk about BDSM, there is a mutual respect involved there, and a person is being inflicted pain with his own, intention and his own consent, as man was also saying. But whenever there is a strong element like fire or any sharp object or anything which can cause a severe traumatic injury, in that case, it becomes really, really tricky to call it only as BDSM. And looking at all the premeditation acts which were done by the lady, it looks like she had done the procurement before, and the element of surprise that she was saying again and again in the interviews and all those things which are being mentioned, that is again a questionable thing. If really it was an element of surprise, was there any preparation? I'm talking only in terms of BDSM. Was there any preparation that if the fire goes out of control, is there any extinguisher nearby? How will we control it? So all these things keeping in mind, it looks like an act of what we call an instrumental aggression. This I have told many a times that the inhumanity behind an act is usually instrumental when it becomes fatal. Usually, when it is impulsive aggression or passion crime or any such thing which has a strong element of impulsivity, it does not go to this kind of well planned and well executed act. Now, this lady tying up a person, an unsuspecting person, and person was most probably involved with her at some emotional level. He was totally unsuspecting, most probably. And taking that as an advantage and putting the person on inflammable, kerosene oil and, just lighting him up, it is a barbaric act to say the least. And it can happen. We have seen such kind of things happening in terms of revenge, extreme emotional incapacitation of a person to handle distress and all.
Right.
So in these kind of personality, what Madam was saying as personality, it can happen. We have to be suspecting. This is what I'm telling everyone. Do not ever put away your suspicion. Always keep in mind that anything can happen, especially when you're involved in a serious relationship.
Right.
This
That's very interesting,
relationship,
Dr. Ravi Prakash, when you say that keep your antenna up, you never know. Now,
yes,
Rashi, I
yes,
want to
we
come
never.
to you. You never know, Rashi, because now it's so scary. Like we used to always feel that it happens in books and films, but it's happening with us, with our neighbors. Dr. Ravi Prakash says that it seems like premeditated and it seems like it's, one was well prepared. But the thing is that everyone heard his screams. The neighbors ran, came. So, somewhere she slipped. I mean, there is nothing called a perfect crime, like the experts say. But Rashi, I want to know something, is that when you keep your antenna up, then there is no limit to it, right? Like if you, like, I know somebody who thinks that her partner is kleptomaniac, has OCD, is schizophrenic, and is also dyslexic, and is also kind of, has all kinds of. So I said, aren't you overthinking? She says that he has all the symptoms. I may have some symptoms. I mean, I have a bad anger problem sometimes. So I mean, where does one draw a line? Rashi, that you say that you have to keep your suspicions. Is it because they were in a relationship that we are talking about this? What if they were a couple who've been together for, let's say, 15 years? Should we still keep the antenna up? I don't know, Rashi. Give us answers here.
Okay. Okay. So 2-3 things here, ma'am. Firstly, awareness is good. We all do have some or the other traits, but not necessary to be falling in a diagnostic criteria, first of all. Second, anything is to be called a disorder when it starts to impact our social, occupational, or personal functioning. If you are seeing any of such signs in your partner where his or her daily life is getting affected by the decisions and the coping strategies, you can definitely consider for a consultation. That is one. And never to ignore the red flags. Like if you are getting gaslighted again and again, or you've been demeaned, even in a jokingly manner again and again, please bring it up in your transparency there. So these things could help us to take our relationships forward, first of all. Second, my personality plays a major role here. My personality is there ever since. It won't change in totality. I can moderate it, I can modulate it, but I
We have some audio problems with Rashi. Dr. Ravi Prakash, let me come to you. Dr. Ravi Prakash, you spoke about how in this entire thing it seems like premeditated, and it seems like there could have been signs. You think that there was this extreme cruelty which was there. Maybe Kiran did not even notice what was going on. So you basically said, doctor, that this is immense, extreme case of aggression. There seems to be, I just don't agree, Dr. Ravi Prakash. I don't know, please correct me if I am wrong. If this is all borrowed from, let us say, other allied sources, what? Cinema, OTT, books. I mean, as a society, do you think that this person, Prema, must have had aggression problems right from the beginning for her to be so angry? She is a young woman. If I look at it, I am not so young. I mean, I am not young at all. But if I look at her, I would have said, "Theek hai, he doesn't want to marry me. There will be many other people that I'll move on in life. There is so much to do." Somewhere it seems like there is aggression which was within her. Maybe she was suffering from a complex that how dare he reject me. Seems like a complicated character, Dr. Prakash.
Yeah, definitely. I can vouch that she had anger and aggression related issues before also. But the thing is that what Madam was saying, I would agree with her. The personality, it is the individual personality that matters a lot. some people have something called as antisocial personality trait, narcissistic personality trait, and they are not able to experience the emotions or the pain of the other person as much as they should be. There is lack of remorse formation, there is lack of empathetic connection with the person, and these things, when they combine together with the rage that a person is having, which can arise very well from what you're saying is very correct actually. The inferiority complexes that a person carries, or the idea of revenge that the person is having. When your individual personality components they combine with these intentions, it becomes deadly. I have seen so many cases like this, where a person when in the mind he gets the idea, he or she gets the idea that now I'm being wronged or something is being maliciously done against me, then I have to take revenge, or it is must that I should do such an activity where the other person has to suffer. And in that process, the person can go to any extent. Revenge is a very, very strong emotion. I keep on telling people that whenever you're into a relationship, always keep in mind that previously it was only revenge in the form of court cases or in the form of all these things. But nowadays, for past 5 years, what I'm seeing, revenge can go to any extent, homicide, uh, debilitation, anything can happen. And that is why the red flags are very important. When we say red flags, my last book is about red flags only actually. And when we say red flags, the individual personality about how the person is reacting to distress, it is very important. Is the person distress tolerance in the form of mainly anger and aggression? If that is the case, you have to be on your toes all the time. You do not know that the anger and aggression can go up to which extent, especially when the person is emotionally invested into any person or any kind of a relationship. So,
Yeah.
in my opinion, aggression was definitely there. Without a strong aggressive personality, no one can do such kind of barbaric and heinous act. But the the modulation of the aggression or the channelization of aggression into these kind of acts, it requires a lot of thought process, which he may have taken from internet. Nowadays on Netflix and everywhere, you have all these serial killers and all these what you say, crime series and all. So you already have that idea that how you can execute such things. Plus, she made up all the stories, the stories of self-harm, suicidal activity, and the story of she was trying to put the whole act under the guise of BDSM thing being happening there.
All
That
right.
itself is a premeditated story in the mind.
All right.
So all these are indicative that she has strong personality components where rage and anger she's not able to handle, and she had to execute it in
All
some
right.
such way.
On that note, Dr. Ravi Prakash, thank you so much. Rashi Trineja, thank you both for joining us on this first debate on the South Indian.